Welcome back to part 2 of our Is Baby Food Only for Babies video. So we spoke in part 1 that it's not only for babies. I'm going to start calling it just pureed foods for now. I was looking through different recipes, and since we have carrot puree and zucchini puree to work with, I was going to make 2 separate baked goods such as carrot cake and zucchini bread. But then I stumbled upon a recipe that had both of those ingredients in them, so we're just gonna make 1 carrot zucchini loaf. So here we have some flours that I combined. I'm tweaking the recipe to make it my own. The recipe called for 3.5 cups of regular flour. Sometimes I do use regular organic white flour, but for this video I decided to keep it gluten-free. So what I did was I used 2 cups of the almond flour from Thrive Market. I used 1 cup of the paleo baking flour. This already has almond flour in it, among arrowroot starch, organic coconut flour, and tapioca flour. So we have those so to say sticking ingredients. And I also so I used 1 cup of that, and I decided to use a 1/2 cup of 1-to-1 baking flour, also in order for all this to come together, because this does have the rice flours and the xanthan gum, and so I figured this would be a good mix for this. So 2 cups almond flour, 1 cup paleo baking flour, 1/2 cup of 1-to-1 baking flour is what we have in here. For this part, the proportions are coming exactly from the recipe. We have 1 tablespoon of baking powder. We have 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. We are combining these together. So now we have a separate bowl. We have 2 eggs, 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I use this one, the organic brown sugar. You can also substitute with monk fruit sweetener or coconut sugar, just not to use the white sugar. Then we also we need to add a cup of each, the carrot and the zucchini. So the recipe calls for shredded. I have purees. It's gonna be okay because the recipe also calls for buttermilk, and I'm gonna use dairy-free yogurt. So you know, we have the yogurt that's a little bit thicker and the puree that's a little bit thinner, versus what they're using. The buttermilk is a little bit thinner and the shreds are a little bit thicker, so I think it's gonna come together just fine. Okay, so we have the purees in. It's asking for 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I'm gonna use 2 of these plain and unsweetened dairy-free yogurts. Each is 150 grams, so it's about 300 altogether. If a cup is 240, so approximately we have what we need. Okay, we're gonna mix everything together very well, incorporate it, and then we just have few more ingredients to go, and we'll be putting it in the baking pan shortly. Okay, everything is mixed very nicely. This is a gorgeous gentle orange color. We have the flours and the dry ingredients incorporated well. Time to mix these up. Okay, so lastly, this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna use coconut oil just because it can be melted just like butter can be. You could always substitute with regular oil, but I just find that if they're asking for butter, that usually means something that hardens when cooled. So I'm trying to keep the consistency the same. Also a 1/2 cup of walnuts, but I had pecans, so I'm gonna use that. And a zest of an orange and a lemon. Combine all that in our mixture, put it in a baking dish, and bake at 350. Okay, I zested my lemon and my orange. This looks absolutely gorgeous. If I can capture the colors and the smells It's amazing. Always telling you never to skip the garnishes. Oh, there's my oven preheating. I always tell you never to skip the green garnishes, and this is no different. Never skip the zests. Our coconut oil is melted. I'm gonna add that right in. I'm gonna add these right in. I'm gonna add this amazing stuff right in there as well. Mix it all up, put it in the pan. Here we go, we're ready for the oven. As we mentioned, we've kept it gluten-free, we've kept it dairy-free. Measurements weren't exact. A lot of substitutable items, but nonetheless, I think thus far it's looking great. Let's see how it bakes out. At 350 degrees until it's ready. There we have it. Our zucchini carrot loaf or bread or cake is ready. It looks absolutely amazing. This is again something that you can even have for breakfast or a snack. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to make. Try it out for yourselves.